Hi everyone, welcome to the Focal Plane podcast. I've got a really special guest with me today, Beth Sarah.
Hello.
Artist, musician, winner of Horsham Battle of the Bands Acoustic category.
Apparently so, yes.
Apparently so. well done for that. It was a fantastic day and a great performance, of course, and great performances from everyone there. It's really great to see a real vibrant community of musicians around. So lovely to see that. And of course, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. So how's it been since winning that? I know you've had a few other things going on. You've had you got a new single coming out. Have you got a new music coming out?
There's loads happening. It's kind of all coincided with a change in my direction anyway as a musician, because I was part of a team running events and things in Worthing. Okay. And I've come away from that team and now I'm doing my own thing and I'm focusing more on my solo artistry. Winning the Acoustic Originals competition was like a really good kind of springboard to make some more things happen.
Brilliant.
And then I just decided I'm quite I do things in a very off the cuff way. I don't sit down and go, right, what am I going to plan for this year? What's my schedule going to be or whatever. I go, oh, I've got that song that's just like ready and it's been sitting there for years. Why don't I release that? Yeah, okay, I'll release that. So basically that's what's happening.
Fantastic.
It's an old song that I wrote when I was like 19. And I recorded with a couple of guys who lived in a flat and they had other guys living in that flat as well who were also music producers. And basically the original version was created and then the other two guys who lived there were like, hold on, I want to do my own version as well. Nice. So I've got 3 different mixes of the same song and I'm putting them out as a single with 2 remixes basically. I just felt like it was the right time for them to go out. I've been sitting on them for like, how old am I? for 24 years.
Right, guys, everyone's doing the maths right now. Don't worry, it's fine. They won't get it. It's too complicated. Excellent. Fantastic. So look, tell us about then, we'll talk of course a little bit more about that, but tell us about your journey. So tell us about you, tell us about where the music has come from, what's been the start, the middle, the end, and the future of where you're going with it.
So I've always known that I wanted to be a musician in some capacity. I was, when I was a teenager, I wanted to be a rock star. Like I started writing songs when I was 14. Nice. And the first song I wrote on the back of a napkin in a history lesson at school. And when I did my music GCSE, I made all of the other people in my class sing the song and they all hated it by the end because we had to sing it so many times. So I wrote and wrote as a teenager, absolutely prolific, like all the time. It was my way of getting my emotions out, I suppose. And I wanted to pursue a career as a singer-songwriter. And then I had some opportunities. So when I was about 19, I answered an ad in the Stage magazine looking for female singer-guitarist. And I very nearly became part of a band that was going to be all-girl lineup. But the trouble is they couldn't find a drummer and a bassist at the time. Okay. So we are talking over 20 years ago. Sure. And I know obviously there are female drummers and bassists now, but back then it was very difficult to find them. So we had someone on piano, we had me on the guitar and vocals, but we couldn't find the rest of the band. And that's a real shame because the guy who was paying for that was the guy who paid for the Spice Girls. And I went to his house in Mallorca for a weekend and it was like so amazing. I was like, this is the life I want. And it just didn't happen. And then I had babies and that changed the direction of my life completely because I had to rethink what my priorities were. Yeah,
of course.
And my youngest is, who's now 19, he's autistic. And so I just took a long time out of trying to make a career of it. I studied and I worked and I was managing a preschool up until a couple of years ago. Then I just went, okay, do you know what? I just want to do the music. Like
it's
always been like burning in there, and I just thought I've got to do it. I have to. So I left everything else behind, and I've just been plowing forward doing music since then. Put an album out in 2023, then had an EP at the end of beginning of this year, and then an album.
God, so you really have hit it hard when you come back into it.
I think partly like the first album that I put out in 2023, it gave me opportunities straight away. Like people knew, like a lot of my friends knew what I was trying to do. Yeah. And then Katie Tunstall had a gig booked in Worthing, and my friends managed to fill the comment section with getting me in there as a support act. So I did that.
Excellent.
So I played support for Katie Tunstall, and she's like my absolute hero.
There's a lesson for everyone, right? So if you want to get a support gig, just spam the comments on any advert promo for anyone. Just do it. Well, in fact, I'm going to do that for a few photo gigs. Good, excellent.
Well, I could have spammed it myself, but I didn't want to. I just, and I didn't actually ask my friends to do that. They did that without me saying anything. They were like, Beth Sarah for support. Come on, you've got to get her in. I was like, you guys, I love you guys. So I emailed the promoter and I was like, I'm just letting you know.
I am Beth Sarah.
I'm Beth Sarah and I'm ready for this. I am so ready. And that went really well.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, I started getting symptoms of gallstones, like about a month later. And then I was basically really unwell with gallstones right through till December. And then I got pancreatitis severely. I was in intensive care and enhanced surgical care unit, and then in and out of hospital in Guildford and Worthing, and had 4 surgeries in the end. And then I finally had my gallbladder out in February this year. So since then, it's been kind of like, well, what am I waiting for? Like, why sit on songs? I write a song. I'm like, I like this song. I'm putting it out. So I've just done that. Like, as soon as songs have been ready, I'm like, well, why am I sitting on it? What's the point? I'll just put it out there. I don't want to waste time, really.
I mean, bloody hell. I mean, that's I'm sorry to hear that. That is like, I'm from my background, I'm aware of how severe these things can be. And with that, of course, I'm hearing it's giving you that real kind of fire in your belly to just go and hit the music hard, say, why not? If I've got a song out, I want to release it, let me just do it and go for it. Where are you seeing that going? I mean, what's that kind of, has that given you a new vision of where you're trying to get to, or what kind of music you want to do, or how you want to present yourself, or what are you thinking in that respect?
I think really, I tend to write depending on what mood I'm in, and my genre doesn't stay the same ever. So it really depends on the kind of zone that I'm in as I'm writing. And it's made me feel like I want to push myself and experiment with different genres and see what suits me best in terms of not only my vocal but also my production techniques and where my skill set lies, like working out what works best for me. So I'm just trying everything pretty much. I've done love songs, I've done sad songs, I've done drum and bass, I've done dance tracks. I'm kind of doing.
Amalgamate all 4 of those things. Why not? Just a cacophony of artistry, shall we say?
We could try to do a little bit of a mashup. Not sure how that would work.
And mashups are in these days. That is the new red, or, whatever you want to call it. But it is it's a thing. So I'm just basically, I don't know if I can really see what I want to get out of it. What I feel like is that this is something that I was born to do. Like it's intrinsic within my nature. It's like 90% of who I am is music and songs, and we're in doing that, I am fulfilling what I'm supposed to do. So whether that becomes popular with people
who listen to it. It doesn't really make any difference to me. I mean, it doesn't matter. I will still do it. So it's more for me than anybody else that I'm doing it, really. It's also a very cathartic process. When you write, it gets out any emotions. And of course, being so ill last year, that was when I started writing again after the illness, or as I was starting to feel better. I found a piano in the chapel in the hospital, and I was like, shuffle down the corridor, get into the chapel, and play and cry and write. And I put a 4-song EP out at the beginning of this year, which was like documents that process of going through the limbo, really. That one of the tracks is called Limbo, and then the EP is called Catharsis, because it was a cathartic process writing it, and everything I write is the cathartic process for me, because when I don't want to necessarily say something to someone's face, like about how I'm feeling about something, because you know how it's very British to kind of go, well, I feel like this, but I'm not going to say it out loud because that would make me seem unreasonable. So instead I put it into a song, and I make it ferocious, and then it doesn't matter, and I don't need to aim it at anybody in particular. I can be like, this is just a song. This is how I felt in that moment. It's not necessarily how I feel anymore, but it's how I felt then, and it's very valid for the moment that I wrote it. So that's how a lot of my music happens.
Yeah, and I guess I guess it's hard to, in a way, ask these sorts of questions without sounding a bit dumb and naive, but I'll try. With respect to that situation you're in, you talked about how you've written some songs for catharsis around that, this track that you call Limbo. Just the short journey you told us, or the short version of that journey, should I say, you told us, of all the things that happened, of all the multiple surgeries, the being not quite, I'm guessing, not quite knowing from day to day, where's this going? That's a hell of a ride. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, those 4 songs really do document that. Like, there's it starts with a song called In the Nighttime, which is about when I first had the gallstones, and I didn't know what the pain was, and I just kept waking up in pain at night, and it's very literal. It's here we go once again in the nighttime. I don't know what's wrong, and again feel the pain in the nighttime. What can be done? And that was the beginning of it. And I had no idea at that point how long it was going to go on. I see now, like, I get my Facebook memories come up from a year ago, and at the beginning of this year I had memories from in January when I was like just out of intensive care, and I'm like, hey guys, I've never had this long off work in my life, and I've been off for like 3 weeks. I was like, you have no idea, babe, no idea. It's going to be months. It was almost 18 months altogether. So then you've got Limbo, which was originally written with a very different word instead of limbo. But I changed it because I wanted it to not have the little E sign on Spotify for explicit. It's a different word. But yeah, so it's don't know how to let go, so run down, I'm in limbo. Tell me how to find my way back home. And I didn't know how long it was going to take to get better.
Yeah.
And then I received a phone call after having had all these things happen. Before my gallbladder was taken out, I got a phone call from the GP saying that my blood results had come through to show that I was pre-diabetic, which obviously would have been my pancreas not producing insulin how it's supposed to. And so then I was like, great, the gift that keeps on giving. And when I had that phone call, I was actually sitting at the piano at the time. Yeah. And I'd been playing around with a couple of chord sequences. And I put the phone down and I cried, and then I wrote a song, and it was called Scared. And it literally is just me singing that I'm scared. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. everywhere I turn, there is something else, something else going on. And then the last song on it is very cheery. I can't see the wood for the trees. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel on that EP. It's very much come with me and I'll take you into a dark place and you can sit there with me and you can just say, this is not good. Like, okay, I'm just going to walk with you in it, rather than, I think what I felt was so many people were like, oh, you know, you're going to get better. Everything's going to be okay. And when you're in the middle of it, you can't see a way out. It's very difficult to try and be optimistic. Sometimes you need people to just go, okay, let me get under that duvet with you. We'll both cry together. And that's what I wanted to do with that EP. And that's why I put it out in the end. Because I was like, this is important, because I feel like I want to be able to come alongside other people who feel like that and say, do you know what? I validate your feeling that you're scared, because it is scary and it's okay for you to be scared. Like, yes, okay, don't stay in that forever. But in that moment, those feelings are really valid and they need to be recognised. So yeah, that's why I shared it.
I mean, 18 months as well of a period is not insignificant. And 18 months of feeling all the things that you mentioned and that horrific uncertainty the whole time. Yeah, I mean, the last thing you need is people saying, oh, it'll get better. It'll be fine. Yeah. Really? I mean, it should have been fine 17 months ago.
Yep.
You know, and that's where, that's where I haven't experienced anything like that. And a lot of people won't have done. And you've got to kind of go there to come back, don't you? Like, I'll never truly be able to understand what that feels like. But the fact that you put those through in your music, in the material that you're then using, not just for your catharsis, but like you say, to kind of help validate others' experiences who may have been through the same thing. And that's a really powerful thing. I think it's a very powerful thing.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's certainly been powerful for me. Yeah. And really, what's strange is that I put the EP out a week before I had my gallbladder surgery. And I did a little live launch in a cafe on an afternoon because, you know, I was still building my strength up.
Yeah.
And it was packed out and I sang through all 4 songs. And there's only one of those songs that I've actually played again to a live audience since then, because it was almost like I played them and it got them out of my system.
Sure.
And it was like, okay, I've put this EP out, now I can move forward. It was like I needed that to close that period of my life. And then after that, I was then able to get back in touch with the record label who were putting my second album out, which was supposed to come out in 2024, but didn't because I was ill. So it was delayed and delayed and delayed, and it ended up coming out in May this year instead. But I put that album together in 2023, in May 23. Yeah. So it's like it took 2 years from the label picking the album up and saying that they wanted to release it through their label. It took 2 years for that to happen because of the illness of 18 months in between.
We all hear about these stories of, you know, this and that getting delayed, albums getting pushed back, but I think that's a unique one that you're not going to see very much.
I always give everything 100%, Sam.
You do. Oh, clearly. I mean, but hey, look, it's you clearly managed to do your own little bit of therapy there as well. Like, if you've managed to, you know, you say you kind of closed the box or a lid on that box to say, I've been there, I've done it now, I've let this out. Let this particular song you're talking about, at least, you know, you've let this out of your system. It's helped you to find a degree of closure to a scenario that I think a lot of people, and again, I caveat this by saying, you know, I haven't been in your shoes, but I caveat that. But I imagine a lot of people really struggle to find that closure. Yeah.
Well, I have suffered from PTSD, but I had counselling, and that really, really helped. And actually, you know, we talked a lot about the songwriting. And, I had moments where I'd be running an open mic and I'd have the mixer on the iPad in front of me, my hands out on the table, and I'd look down and I could see my veins in my hand, and all of a sudden I felt like someone was putting a cannula in, and like this on the table, and people
Like, what's going on? Yeah.
Are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And I'd wake up.
It was just a spider. It's fine.
I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and I'd feel like I was stuck to the bed with stuff, you know, plugged in everywhere, and the heart monitor, and I'd be like paralyzed in bed, and I'd have to just rationalize in my brain. I'd be like, it's not real. I'm okay. I'm in my bed. I'm at home. It's okay. I'm not in that place anymore. And it was really quite intense. That those moments came thick and fast for a while. But that really only started happening after my body started feeling better. Because it was almost like my body needed to heal physically before my brain could heal. And then I went through that process, and I'm happy to report that they are fewer now. It doesn't happen as often. And also focusing on the music and really pushing forward with my career has helped with distracting myself from that too. So
and that's, I mean, here's the dichotomy of what you say. You know, you've got you talk about this, to use the cliche, new lease of life, right? Where you are very much pushing very hard with your new songs, your EP. We spoke a bit before about you haven't necessarily got a vision of an exact place of where it's going, but you are motivated more than ever to do it and bring that out. And yet, of course, you're not. You've been through what you've been through. That isn't just suddenly going to disappear out of your mindset and your psyche. It's fantastic that you've done the things that you've done, including, you know, getting therapy. Sure, we all need to advocate for that, and but understanding that it is a thing that it shapes you. It's going to shape how things move forward. It's shaping your songwriting, it's shaping your artistry. Just as in the before times when you didn't have that stuff going on, you had other things that were shaping who you were. Maybe in those times you were not as active with your songwriting, but these experiences, they build you and they make and shape the things that you present to the world. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they really do. I think it does still have an impact on me, like physically. I get very tired. I have to make sure that I plan carefully what I'm going to do. So I'll only have like one proper activity a day. If I'm gigging, because I sing the 90s, and if I've got a gig booked, then I have a pre-gig nap. Always make sure that I go to bed at around 4 p.m. for an hour or so that I'm well rested, and then I can get ready for the gig. So I make sure if I've got a gig, I don't do anything else during the day. Today I may have overdone it a little bit because I did some plastering this morning. Because I'm another thing that I've been like really prompted to do is revamp my studio space. Because I want to create a space that I can do video. Like create video in. And I've got a very small like studio with a vocal booth in it, in my shed. And the other part of the shed was just this sort of empty shell. So yesterday with my 19-year-old, we insulated and plasterboarded, and then today I've just sorted the joins out with some plaster and the joining tape, and that plaster dries really, really fast. So I'm there with my hands, like just slapping it on with my hands, and then using the trowel after to try and. I'm going to have to sand it really, like. But this is one of the. I think it's like either a problem or a good thing. I've always been like really independent. My parents brought me up to be independent, to do DIY. Like if something's broken, you fix it. If you want to do something, you do it. You don't ask someone else to do it, because if you can do it yourself, then why not do it yourself? So originally the studio that's out there, I built it with my dad in 2018. And the plaster that I used today was the leftover bag of plaster from 2018. So a 7-year-old bag of plaster.
Hey man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is what I'm going to say. Yeah, that's it.
Exactly, and the plaster tape as well. So I was like, do you know what? I remember what he did. And we did it together then. I remember how it works. I'll do it myself.
Brilliant.
And I may have overdone it slightly. but I don't have a gig tonight.
Hey, it's all part of the process, you know. That's it. It's the joy of the journey, right? The destination's just a matter of fact. It's the joy of how you get there, right? And the frustrations.
I did enjoy myself. I mean, I got totally covered. I got inside and I was like, oh, oops. Yeah. I wonder if anyone can tell that I've been doing plastering. It's all right. I've got sanding to come and then painting. But, you know, I'm going to have a nice little functional videoing space that I can create content in. So that's, you know.
Oh, weird. Yeah. Well, looking forward to seeing what comes out of that.
Well, you know, you don't don't look too hard at the background. Maybe slightly rough and ready.
Hey, rough and ready is it's a good way of keeping it authentic, I'd say.
Rustic. Yeah. Let's call it rustic.
Let's call it rustic. Yeah, that's the word of the moment when it comes to these things. Excellent. So then I guess taking a slightly different slant then. So. Maybe I misunderstood this. So what? You're nearly a Spice Girl? Is that a thing?
No. No. So the Spice Girls were already a thing.
Sure.
And it was the guy who paid for the Spice Girls to happen.
Right.
So his name's Chick Murphy. I don't think he's around anymore. He was quite old then. So
sure.
I don't know. But he lived in Mallorca, and he was like, I just want to throw money at a new project. I'd like to have a girl band where all the girls play instruments. And so it was... there was a guy called Chris Robinson, I believe. He was married to one of the 3 Degrees at the time. Okay. And he was the one who was kind of managing the project.
Yeah.
And he's the one who placed the ad in the stage. And I went to the audition and I got through and then ended up going over to Mallorca with a whole bunch of people. There was like 5 of us or something. And we all just kind of tried out different things. We ended up everybody drank lots, and we ended up just doing karaoke. It was fun. It was really fun. But I was waiting for my phone call after I got back. You know.
Yeah.
It was an excruciating wait, and in the end, I realised that I wasn't going to get that phone call. And that it wasn't all going to just be handed to me on a plate, and I was going to have to keep working at it. So, yeah. You know, but never mind. My life could have been very different, and I'm kind of glad that I wasn't in like a manufactured band, because I may not have been able to do my own music.
Almost certainly you wouldn't have been. Right?
It would have been. Yes. I would probably have ended up singing songs that I hated and being known for those songs, and then not really enjoying my career. So at least this way, I get to sing my own songs and sing them how I want to sing them.
Yeah. You live by your own rules with this, right?
Yeah,
this is the thing.
I perform where I want to perform, and and I'm in other bands as well. So you know, there's quite a few projects going on. It's a lot of fun.
It's always that kind of thing where you. When your passion turns into a graft of a job for somebody else, that's a weird place to be. You know, if you came with the, you talked about how when you were a teenager you just wanted to be a rock star, all this kind of business. Well, that inspiration comes from a very deep place, and if you lose the grip on that, which is essentially you wanting to control the narrative of where you take it and what you're performing, how you're presenting it, how it comes across to people, and actually all you're doing is being a bit of a, I don't want to say puppet, that's not the right way of saying it, but I'm trying to make an analogy here, but you're essentially just a thing that presents somebody else's work. Yeah. And that's not why you did it in the first place. No. That's not why you went to it in the first place.
No, absolutely not.
And then I'm not in that world, so I don't know. But it strikes me as very likely that you would get to a place where it's very hard to then come away from that or be known for anything different.
Yeah, I suppose it probably would. I mean, I don't know because it didn't happen. So, but I know there are a lot of bands from that era who, where are they now? But again, there are a lot of solo artists and bands that came back together. I think because of the Oasis effect, like a lot of the 90s bands and artists are out touring again now. It's really strange. Like if you look at what live music is out there at the moment, what gigs can you go and see? It's almost like we're back in the 90s again. Yes. Even Boyzone have decided that they're going to reform and do a tour. Which is weird. But But yeah,
I don't know, your eyes are telling me that you bought tickets.
no, I haven't. I really haven't.
Well, in which case I won't see you at the gig. I was going to say, should we get a drink? But no, fine. Okay.
I mean, five on the other hand.
Come on.
They were the best. I literally had my bedroom wall was plastered with
Brilliant
posters of Five out of the middle of Smash Hits magazine. That's my teenage years.
Smash Hits magazine.
Five and Kavanagh and PJ and Duncan, otherwise known as Ant and Dec. All of those lot.
What a time
all
that
on
was.
my bedroom,
Yeah.
all on my bedroom wall. Yeah, what a time indeed. What a time. And that's why actually I'm really enjoying singing songs from the 90s now.
Yeah.
Because I go out on a Friday, Saturday night and I'm singing all these songs like, Venga Boys, Spice Girls, Alanis Morissette, all of that, stuff that I used to listen to when I was in my late teens. And everyone's loving it because everyone who's out is like around my age. There's this whole whole culture of people who are really into that 90s vibe, and every song they're like, oh, that's a banger, oh, that's a banger.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're singing along and they're doing the dance to to Saturday Night, and it's so much fun, so much fun. I'm just reliving my youth. I feel like that's partly spurred me on with my career plans as well, because I'm like, it makes me feel like how I did back then. It's all this music that's what brought me to life in the first place.
So what was it that or was there any one particular single focal point of inspiration for you? The thing that drove you to want to be a rock star? Was it a particular artist? Was it a group of musicians? What was it?
I think because music is in my family, it was natural to want to do something to do with music anyway. My dad is a worship leader.
Yep.
My mum was a Sunday school teacher. She'd play guitar and sing.
Yeah.
And I used to sometimes write songs for the Sunday school musical, and it would just be like little simple verse and chorus, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it all came from in the first place. And I was brought up on a musical diet of Christian music and panpipes, basically. So I didn't listen to anything other than that until I was about 14. And then suddenly I started listening to the radio. And then
the bedroom walls all changed.
Yes, absolutely. This is what happened. So the first, funnily enough, the first band that I really got into was the Lighthouse Family.
Okay. Yeah.
I heard them on the radio and I was like, I just really enjoyed the vibe of it. And I really, really got into it. I used to pretend that I was one of their backing vocalists. And so if their music comes on the radio now, I sing the backing vocals because that's what I taught myself to do.
It's been a while since I've heard a track from them. They always had their very well known songs like High and
Lifted and Ocean Drive.
Ocean Drive. But it's that those are the tracks that you don't hear very often, just kind of coming back into.
No, I know, but Tunde, the singer, he's got his own stuff coming out now. He's just got a new song called Rain to a Rainbow.
Of course he does.
Yeah. and he joined TikTok, and I was somewhere in the 30s of people who followed him.
Yeah.
So when he first joined TikTok, I was able to actually have conversations with him.
There it is.
And I tagged him in some stuff, and he liked some of my videos, and we actually had a messenger chat in TikTok. But now it's like he's got, he's blown up a bit and he's not talking to me anymore.
Well,
damn.
Tunde, can you respond to messages, please? It's just getting a bit embarrassing, right?
But I was so excited.
There's no need to ghost. Okay, yes.
I was so excited. I was like, this is my dream. I mean, honestly, if I could play a festival where Tunde's doing a set, I would be so happy.
Have you ever met any of your heroes? Have you ever?
Katie Tunstall.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So she kind of came into the public eye in about 2005.
Yeah. And
my eldest was 2 at the time, and I was pregnant with my second child. And I saw her on the Jules Holland show. And I was absolutely fixated by what she was doing. And I was like, this is what I want to be. Like this is like where I wanted to be and what I wanted to be doing, but I can't. So she's doing it. So I'll watch her, and she can be what I want to be, and I'll live through her. Like, so I've just basically lived vicariously through watching her. Like, anytime something's been televised or, you know, on YouTube or whatever, I've just watched her videos, and she's doing festivals and things, and I've watched how she does it. And I'm no good with the loop pedal like she is at all. But to be able to get up on stage and support her in 2023 was an absolute dream. And, you know, she hugged me afterwards. I held the door open for her as she was coming through, and she was like, "Oh, are you Beth Sarah?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she went,
"Can you stop stalking me on my Facebook, please? Get off my social media. Stop it, or I'll call the police."
Well, she was like, "Oh, your songs were beautiful." And then she gave me a hug, and I was just like,
"Oh, wonderful."
Melt.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that was really, really nice.
That's great. Yeah.
So that's kind of, and she's kind of been like my icon really since 2005, but she wasn't the first one. And then obviously there's other female singer-songwriters really who have shaped my journey. Joni Mitchell I absolutely love. I love Eva Cassidy, but she didn't write her own songs, but she did really beautiful arrangements of other people's songs.
Wonderful.
And I love those arrangements. And I play, I didn't think I could play like her, and then someone challenged me to learn one of her songs, and I learned how to do it. And then I was like, oh, if I can do that one, then I can do all of them. So now I can play a lot of songs in the style of Eva Cassidy, which I do enjoy doing. It's a very chilled thing, and very, very different from the Spice Girls and the Venga Boys.
It would be, yes. That is true. I will grant you that. Yes.
And I did like Alanis Morissette. I do still like Alanis Morissette, but I'm not like a massive fan of hers. But I like her songs, and I think she's got quite a lot of growl. I like the anger in her songs. Paula Cole is another one. She can write really angry music, and I kind of like that fire that they come out with in their songs. So I don't know if I've been particularly great at emulating that, because I'm quite a softie in general, and and I've tried to brush off those soft edges a bit and be a little bit more spiky, but I don't know if I really can.
Yeah, so, it's one of those things you're not going to be able to, you know, fake it or portray it in a way that holds any weight if it's not really kind of coming from deep within, right?
Yeah, so, it has to be genuine for it to work. Like, I think the songs that work best in a live performance context are ones that I'm feeling.
Of course,
that I've written from here, because I do have songs that have been inspired by like things that I've seen on TV or books that I've read, and I'll get into the feeling of the character at the time when I'm writing, and I'll write, and it'll be like really emotional. But when it comes to performing it, I'm just like, I don't feel this at all. And sometimes like the live arrangements of the song aren't good enough for me. I think I'm getting more picky as time goes on about what constitutes a good arrangement for something. So I'm really working on like how I actually play, rather than just using a guitar as an instrument to carry my voice. I'm like, actually, can I make this sound more interesting? Can I change it up a little bit and arrange it properly, rather than just playing the same thing all the way through? I don't want to be dull. I don't like watching music that's dull, that's the same all the way through. I like things to be interesting. I like to have my attention held.
Well, those are the nuances that come through, you know, your own growth journey as a musician and artist. You're going to crave more of that nuance. You're going to crave more of the, hey, look, I'm sick of the sound of this now. I don't want other people to be feeling that. And likewise, if I'm feeling that about this, I need to get that fire back. So how do you do that? Well, it's just like how, I mean, it sounds like in your own way you are working towards, you know, various different visions of how can I create more with what's in front of me. You know, how do I make this more of a journey, not just for, you know, myself in writing this, but for somebody watching and listening to it.
Yeah.
And part of that is, like you say, it's not just about playing your chords and singing over it. It's, you know, let's really have a nice interplay here. And we see that with artists all the time, you know, from people that, you know, you and I may have been following from 90s, noughties or whatever. The stuff that they start with versus the stuff that they come out with later, yes, it's more mature, but that maturity comes from those nuances. It comes from understanding their own music more than just let's just bash this out, you know?
Yeah. And I actually find that playing songs live sort of transforms what the song is. So where I used to write a song and be like, right, that is the song and it's finished.
Yeah.
Now I think of a song as like a working document and I go out and I'll play it slightly differently every time, and it evolves into what it finally becomes. And then I go into the studio and again, it evolves with the arrangement. And then even that, the process of recording and arranging and putting other instruments over the top might then change how I play it live as well. So it's just like this constantly evolving thing.
Of course, yeah.
So if you hear a song of mine that I've recorded, when you see me play it live, you'll probably get something quite different. But you'll know that it's that song. It's just it's different to what you hear on the record, which I'm in two schools of thought with it. I really do like being able to emulate what's on a recording in a live context, but I also like something that's completely different as well, because I find that interesting. When I go and see an artist, like if I go and see Katie Tunstall, I love it if she does like an acoustic version of something. It will just be her in the middle of the stage, nobody else, and she's just playing something acoustic, whereas on the record it's like full production and she's just there in her and her guitar. And I just, there's something about that just makes it a bit more magical and intimate when you're performing.
100%. It's like back in the days of MTV Unplugged, right?
Yeah.
So, and when I saw stuff like this, my sort of simplistic child brain was thinking, oh, like this is just really cool. They're doing this normally big, raucous, huge produced track in a much more stripped down, guttural way, and the emotion is very different. The same song sung by the same people, performed by the same people, can portray extremely, almost two ends of a spectrum. Just by understanding the different arrangements and understanding what effect that has on how you perform it. Like when you are singing, if you're in front of a crowd and it's all big lights, glam, glitz, all of this, that's a very different energy. I mean, it's a fierce energy, but it's a very different energy to, oh, actually, this is inherently intimate. There could still be the same amount of people in the crowd. There could still be a big energy to it. But when you are connected with your song and your instrument in that way, it has to be different in terms of how you feel it, and thus it will come out differently. And the most powerful ones, the most powerful tracks and artists that, the ones that are regaled in legend when people talk about, do you remember when you saw, Kurt Cobain doing that stuff on MTV Unplugged all the time back? It was, it was like he's playing a different song entirely. They're playing different tracks entirely, but they're his writings, it's his songs. It's just a different emotion and a different way of connecting. Yeah,
and also, like if I'm doing something live, quite often, if I am emotional about the song, then my voice cracks more, and I have moments where I sometimes I do actually cry while I'm singing, but I wouldn't put that on a recording, You'd only get that live. Yes. You'd only get me crying live, but and I make people cry as well, apparently. So people come over to me after an original performance.
Do you just shout at them a lot until they cry?
I actually, at the Battle of the Bands, this elderly gentleman came over to me, and I was quite overwhelmed by it, actually. He was like, I just wanted you to know that you made me and my father cry. And I was like, your father? And he pointed over. And
I don't think that was the... is that really this point in the story? Okay.
There's this really withered old man in a chair. And I was like, oh my goodness. And he was like, yeah, that song that you did about, falling in love with someone who's not available. We both cried. And I was like, wow, okay. I'm glad that you understood it and appreciated it. And it's finding those emotions that are like almost a universal thing. Everybody's felt heartbreak at some point. Everybody has.
Not me. I'm like, my heart is Teflon.
I don't know where to go from there.
No, most people don't. They just.
But everybody understands, I think, like the emotion of wanting something but not being able to have it.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily even heartbreak over a person. It could be over, a career, for example. I know people who mourn the loss of a career that they thought they should have and they didn't. And it's very valid. And a love song can be taken in any context that one's heart wants to take it. It's emotions. As I portray emotion through song, it can be a very emotional experience for the audience as well.
And that's a very powerful way of looking at it. And if we talk about then the stuff that you did about the band, so you played 4 tracks.
No, I think I did 5. I think I did 5. Yeah. I can't actually remember what songs I played. Okay,
well, that kind of nullifies the discussion then. But.
No, I can. I think I did 3 love songs on the guitar, and then 2 songs on the piano. The only reason why I don't remember is because they got me up at the end to play again.
That's correct. Yes.
And then I played more songs. So
which ones did I play when? Yeah.
But I do know that I did like my most recent songs.
Okay. Because my question was going to be what made you select the tracks that you played?
So it's basically, firstly, the most recent song that I've written is always my favourite. Because I've just written it.
It's your new baby.
It's in my head and it's fresh. Yeah. So that's always going to be on the set, whatever.
Okay. And what was that called?
That one at the time, that was called It Has to Be Me. I've written 2 since then. Is it now called
It Has to Be You?
No, it was called It Has to Be Me. It's still called It Has to Be Me, but at the time that was my most recent song.
Oh, I see.
I've written 2 more songs since then.
I misunderstood. Okay, yeah, sure.
So It Has to Be Me. And that was the song about falling in love with somebody who's not available and saying, choose me.
Yeah.
And so that had to be in the set. And then I did another song on the piano that I can't remember which one. Probably from my album that came out this year. And then the songs that I did on the guitar, 2 of them were very recent writes. One of them I put out already. It's called Collide, and that's a love song. It's like very, very cheesy, twee love song. And then You're in My Head, which is I wrote it in 2018, and it's always been the one that makes people cry the most. So I was like, if I make that my last song of the set and I leave people with a tearjerker, it's always the one to leave people with, that one. It's like, my closing song, I shall leave you with tears. So that's kind of, my...
I don't remember crying.
No, but if you've got a Teflon heart, then...
It's true. Plus, I was probably a bit more focused on just like, getting the frame and the angles right with the camera. And I was just running around with like...
Yeah, you were working, that's it. It's work.
ain't got no time to cry for that, no. So but that's a very strategic set of songs to play then. So I'm a hopeless romantic. So I get inspired by all sorts of things. At the moment, I'm reading War and Peace, which is ridiculous. It's very, very long. I thought people only would say that when they're describing an awful situation. Oh, it's like reading War and Peace. But you are actually reading War and Peace.
I am actually reading War and Peace because... Although I'm not reading it before watching it, I'm reading it because of watching it. I enjoyed it so much, and I wanted to dive deeper into the storylines and the emotions behind the different characters and their storylines. So there's loads and loads of storylines inside that one book. It's like, you've got so many couples basically who are torn apart by different situations and obviously the war. And so I've been really delving into the emotion of that. And so a lot of my recent songs are based on that. In particular, the 2 main characters, Natasha and Pierre. And they kind of like, they have this this friendship all the way through the book, and it's right at the end where they've both been with other people and they've come back together, having lost all those other people, and they've suddenly realized that they love each other and that they have all along, really. And it's like the emotion just floods in. That's what Collide was about. It's like super love song, really, really gentle, soft vocal, very high notes. I like the high notes. And there's something about it that's just like, really, really love that. And then You're in My Head, which is a song that usually makes people cry. That one is based on a storyline in Sense and Sensibility with Marianne Dashwood and Willoughby, when the first time they meet, and she doesn't know who he is, and he scoops her up off the moor because it's raining and she's fallen off her horse and hurt her ankle, and he lifts her up and carries her home, and she falls madly in love with him. And it's that moment I captured in that song.
So what I'm hearing is that really you just massively plagiarise stuff rather than come up with your own original ideas, which, hey, I mean, that's one way of doing it. I mean, hats off to you.
I think what I've realised is that I write about the kind of love that I want for myself.
By stealing others.
By stealing other people's love. So I just get inspired, by those moments. And I'm like, well, what can I take from that? Like, I want a love like that. I want to like fall head over heels for someone without even knowing what their name is. I want to be like, who are you? You've consumed my thoughts. Like, what is this? Are you gonna come and visit me? Are you gonna bring me flowers?
I will call you Dave until proven otherwise.
Doesn't say that in the song, but yeah,
it should. There you go.
Yeah, and so I'm writing about the kind of love that I would like to feel for myself. In the absence of that, I've had moments where I have felt like I am, and then I have to go back to my storybooks.
Damn. There we go. So you mentioned that you've since then you've had a couple more tracks that are more your babies now. So what are the themes of them been?
I wrote one about a month ago. It's called Grey, and it's another storyline in War and Peace. It's the same female protagonist, Natasha, but she's fallen in love with this guy called Prince Andre. He proposes to her, but his father tells him that he has to wait a year before they can get married. He has to go off travelling and see if their love still exists a year later, that he gives his blessing. So Andre goes off after having proposed, and Tasha's like, I'm completely in love, and yes, I want to get married. But he then goes away for a year. And during that year, he writes to her and he tells her about all the wonderful things that he's doing. And she's like, I hate you. You're doing all these fun things. And I can't, like, all this time, I'm sitting at home waiting for you. And so the chorus of the song is like, should I walk away? I wish I could stay, but my poor heart is just turning grey as I wait, and so that's the theme of the song, is this whole my heart's turning grey while I wait for you.
Do you know what, the most frustrating thing about hearing all of that is, I just so wish my usual co-host Andre was here right now. I would rip him to shreds over this. It's rife for bants. And he's not here, damn it, Andre! What the hell? Anyway, but it also sounds like the modern day equivalent of the lovebirds in sixth form, and one goes off to gap year, another one goes off to uni somewhere else. Will it last? Won't it?
Yeah.
But it's interesting that that's what you're gravitating towards. In terms of, you're reading through this, you're finding inspiration around, you mentioned before about, hey, look, this is the sorts of things that I would have liked to experience, or I'd love to experience at some point, and relating to it in the way that you do through what you have already experienced. Yeah. And that longing and the yearning for it.
I think it's the intensity of the feeling.
Yeah.
Like knowing that you love someone so much that it's making your heart turn grey to not be with them.
None of these things I can relate to, but yeah.
But yeah, so that you know, that intensity, I love that. It's like a fire, you know. So then the most recent one that I wrote, which was yesterday, I haven't given it a name yet, but it's basically it's very, very similar thematically.
Yeah.
It's the same storyline that's still playing on my mind, and it's like, what are you waiting for? Or what am I breaking for?
Yeah.
Like, why are we hanging around? Like, we know we love each other. Why are we waiting? Like, just come back now.
Why are you waiting? What is ever the answer for that?
It's what are you waiting for? I'm right here. What am I breaking for? Like, just to have you near. So that's and that's the fresh one from yesterday. So I think the words are slightly different to that, but yeah, I've got it written down.
I'm sure you do. Yeah.
I have demoed it. I demoed it last night at about 1:30 in the morning, because I was like, if I don't demo this now, I'm going to forget it.
Worst,
so I went out into the studio and did the piano, and then I did the lead vocal, and then I added a couple of backing vocals, and then I was like, no, they don't work, so I deleted them. And then I was like, okay, it's like 2 a.m, I should probably go to bed. So yeah.
Can I ask, how many times has that happened to you? So how many times have you been, out and about doing what you're doing, whatever it is, and this inspiration comes to you, you create this magic in your mind, and then you sort of get distracted by something, and that triple platinum record has just disappeared from your head? I mean, how many times has that happened?
Well, not too often, I have to admit, because I do. If I'm not home, then I use my voice notes on my phone. I've got recorder in the quick tab at the top, so I literally scroll down, press recorder, and it starts recording straight away.
It's just too organised. That's no fun.
But it does mean that the writing process for me is to go back through those voice notes and listen to them, and then think, is there something in this?
Yeah, of course.
And if so, how do I build on that? Yeah. And so then I'll have like 6 or 7 voice notes of the same song, and you hear the progression of how I've written it as I go, because I'm like, I have to remember what I did on that bit. I really like that chord progression. Quickly record that chord progression. And then I have to say it into if I haven't got facility to write something down, I'll be like, right, it's E minor over a C, or something, and I have to like make sure that I know exactly what I'm doing with my hands as well. Although I have recently bought a a thing that goes over your neck that you can put your phone in. So that I can film what I'm doing with my hands. Yes. Yeah, sure. So I can turn my phone into landscape mode, and I can literally just play through and sing the song, and then I can see what my fingers are doing. And then I'll be able to watch it back and go, oh yeah, that's how I play it.
That's pretty good. That's a good way of doing it. I mean, yes. No, these things were not around when
But that's the kind of thing that I will be gifting to my Patreon members when I finally start my Patreon. Like, I'm going to be like, right, this song, you've heard this song however many times you've heard it, would you like to see the video of when I first wrote it and what my fingers are doing? I mean, come on.
Member exclusive content. I like it. Yeah, excellent. Yes.
Old voice notes of like the song in its original format, which was actually terrible, and then you hear how much it's developed from the first ideas to where it is once it's recorded.
That's a good shout. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people are very interested in these days for reasons I'm not entirely clear on. But it is it's a good way of understanding, or your audience understanding you. And how your process works, because we always see the final product. That's what you produce, isn't it? That's what's out there in the ether for people to listen to and watch. But I guess people are more interested in the process behind the scenes as to how these things actually come to be. I mean, I've had comments for people who watch this podcast and say, like, Sam, how the hell did you get that? Or what's going on here? How many cameras, how many this, how many that, and the other. It's like, like a lot. That's my answer. But one day I probably ought to do like a BTS of the whole podcast recording scenario. I probably will do that. But it's we don't appreciate, and I think for musicians this must hold true more than anything else. We don't appreciate the graft that goes behind everything that leads to that finished product.
Yeah, I think a lot of musicians do keep hold of like old voice notes and scribbles on paper and whatever of lyrics, because we know that it provides content, and we have to provide content. You know, if you want to make it anywhere in this what feels like a saturated market,
and it's always been really,
it's really important to have stuff that you can share. And I'm always drawing on all sorts of things to be able to put out a TikTok every day. I'm really trying hard with TikTok. Awesome. I've been doing it for about 2 weeks now. I've been putting a TikTok out every day. I'm trying to follow a pattern, but like every day I'm like, oh no, I haven't done my TikTok yet. What can I use? And I scroll through. I'm like, okay, I'll use that picture or I'll use that video. Yesterday I did a time lapse of me putting the insulation in the shed, forgetting to wear a mask, and then I got cough like afterwards. I was like, yeah, don't be like me. Always wear a mask if you're using Rockwool. It irritated my throat very slightly.
I'm not sure if Patreon members will appreciate this, but
well, who
knows? I could be right. Look, I'm not even on TikTok. I don't know. But
you are on TikTok a bit because you're in some of my videos.
Well, that's scary. Scary. Do you know the TikTok thing is interesting, right? So I've never really been on TikTok, as in I've never had the app or anything, apart from one time where someone messaged me and said, "Oh, Sam, you need to see this. It's something relevant to work I was doing at the time." I was like, okay, great. Open up my phone, download the app. Nothing happens. And the reason nothing happened was because it just so happened at that time I was in India, and TikTok's banned in India.
Oh.
So it's like, this is useless. I knew, but I didn't remember at the time. So it was very much, TikTok's rubbish then if the app doesn't even work. And only when I got back here, it was just, that's why. But you know what? Now I can't be bothered.
To be honest with you, it's a totally different thing to like Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah,
they're all very different platforms. I tried being on Blue Sky, but I gave up on that because I just couldn't be bothered. I was like, I'm already doing Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
You spread yourself too thin, and then
But I tend to post the same stuff on Instagram and Facebook because I'll post it to Instagram and then it automatically goes onto Facebook. But I do go into both and reply to comments and things like that.
Sure.
Make sure I'm interacting with my audience.
Yeah.
And Facebook is where I put gigs, like, because you can create the event. And so I've got like listings of all the events that I'm doing are on Facebook. You can't have that on Instagram or TikTok. So it's like there's things that you can do on each that kind of, work better for each app. TikTok is like reaching people who don't know who I am. So I just have to assume with everything that I post that people don't know who I am. Whereas on Instagram and Facebook,
it's largely your
generally
followers
people who are
already
already following me, And so I'm like, okay, these are people who want to hear this information about certain stuff. So I'll post different stuff on those platforms to TikTok.
Like a deep faked version of me dancing. Is that what it is?
No, I would do that on TikTok because I know you're not going to see it.
Yeah, that's it. Wow. Okay.
I'm not going to do that.
It's 2025. Anything goes. Is what I'm going to say. But
I really can't be bothered.
that's how they lure you into a false sense of security. I would never do that. Who's got the time? Who has the time for that nonsense, Sam?
I mean, you planted the seed.
So it could be there. But so I guess that's a sort of segue into. So we did a photo shoot recently.
We did,
of course. So this was one part of your winnings prize for winning the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
So we went down to Ivy Arch Tunnel
in Worthing.
Yes.
Yeah. It was. I just kind of felt like having the graffiti in the background would just help to, I don't know, That made me look cooler.
Well, also, you know, these are the things that are. I always find these things fascinating, right? So when we spoke about it, you said to me repeatedly, you know, I don't want to look wholesome.
Yeah.
was your phrase.
That was because I'd been for a meeting at a studio the day before.
Yeah.
And I'd played a couple of my new songs, and the guy at the studio was like, you have to be really, really careful when you're recording a woman with a piano, because it just has this wholesome thing to it, and people will see it and they just go, oh, that's nice, and smile. you know
Okay.
And I don't want people to look at me and go, oh, that's nice, and scroll. Like, I want people to look at me and go, oh, this is interesting, you know.
No, I just have so many responses to that I can't say because I just will get in trouble. But yes.
Anyway, so yeah, that's basically, that was where that came from. Like, me not wanting. It's not just about the word wholesome. It's about the fact that basically I could go quite easily fit in at a folk festival. Or a folk event. Like, any of my music, I could make it sound folky, and I could just fit in with the folk crowd and probably be fairly successful on a folk circuit.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm not a folk singer, and I don't want to be known as that. I'm definitely a lot more like indie pop. That's what I've always thought of myself as, and I don't want to look like I'm like some kind of, I don't know, it's like that floaty, long floaty hair, like floaty dresses, and, you know, in long grass and all that kind of thing. It's lovely, but it's like, oh, that's nice. Again, the whole scroll past thing. No, you know, I wanted to create some sort of impact. Which is
this is where I always find these things very interesting, in the sense that, so as I say, you told me that, you said, hey, look, I don't look wholesome, and you've explained where that's come from, because, and I think I mentioned it to you when we were speaking. I think, okay, like, because my assumption, had you not said that, would be, we kind of want to go for a bit of a rustic vibe. We want to get a little bit of a soft tone to these shots, because of course I'd only seen you. All I had seen of you was in the Battle of the Bands. Where you're playing those
doing really kind of gentle
stuff, right? Yeah. So then in my head, I've obviously I've got, it's more than an image. I've seen it, so I'm remembering what I've seen. But also, you know, if I'm to try and portray that in imagery, there's a certain process way that I'd go through around that.
Yeah.
So we then took a very different approach. So you're saying to me, I actually what I'm aiming for is this. Okay, so that's a very deliberate proposition. Yeah, which is great. Like, and this is where I'm speaking, I guess, to people who are trying to get into the photography zone, who are maybe thinking, I like to do events, I like to do this, I'd also like to do some profile work. It's a very different way of thinking, right? So when I'm doing event photography, when I'm doing weddings, I'm doing and some corporate gigs, a lot of it is about capturing those moments. A lot of it is about kind of understanding people and where and how they interact, what emotions they may express in any given moment. But when we're doing profile work, it's not that. Of course, we did capture a few candid moments, you holding that very cute puppy, right? Yeah. But that's not it. It cannot be accidental or waiting for moments when we're doing profile work. We have to be extremely deliberate. And we had a process where we did it. And if you recall, we went down, I hadn't been there before. I looked it up a little bit when we were talking on the phone, and I came prepared for most eventualities. But I'm seeing the graffiti like you mentioned. So there's loads of different patterns, colours, lines, shapes. And of course, the tunnel presented its own vibe. Mm-hmm. But it's the mistake a lot of people can make, which I think when we were doing this, we were talking a bit about it, right? How, actually, where should I stand? I'll stand here because this looks pretty, right? Or I'll stand here because that looks right. It has to be more deliberate than that.
Yeah.
So understanding, the tones, the lines, and actually what you're trying to portray is critical. It's never about just, that's graffiti, that's colourful, that will look nice.
Yeah.
No. It's, okay, what is it? What colours are what? What's your tone like? What are you wearing? What image are you going for? Okay, I'm going for this. I want it edgy. I want it poppy. Okay, we're going to use the electric blues. We're going to use the fiery reds. We're going to create a contrast between that and actually the fact that your hair had a bit of a purple tone to it. We're going to use that to create that contrast and that really edgy hit. Otherwise, it is just an accidental shot.
Yeah.
That will just look, oh, that's nice. And then you suddenly, without even trying, back to, oh, isn't that a nice photo?
Yeah.
Rather than, whoa, that just punched me in the face, right? And that's what we were going for. And hence, when we use the lightings that we did, again, like I speak to photographers who are trying to get into this zone, be deliberate, be very, very clear as to what lighting and what effects you're trying to get. Unusually, again, I say unusually because I had this idea in my head, like I said before, but now it's, oh, actually, I want harsh shadows. I want edgy, hard cut lines. Whereas had you not said anything to me and I'm going by what I had seen and heard, I go, oh, let's go for the soft glows and the muted looks, which would be perfect for somebody who wants that. But it has to be extremely deliberate in everything. The lighting, the shapes, the lines, the colours, the ambience, all of this creates a picture. And you have to be comfortable doing it as well. So it has to be a case of, is this really me? Does this really represent me? Is this, what's this guy doing? Does he really know what he's talking about? I don't know. But it is that all of that has to meld together to create the final product. And that final product's like the photography that I want to do, and I always aim to do. If it's not punching me in the face, I'm not doing it right. and I love doing that. I love that about profile work. I love doing that with artists, just like really understanding where they want to come from and where they want to get to, and just creating that imagery that fits that like a knife. Yeah, well, so,
you did meet the brief.
Well,
I really, honestly, like, I love the photos. There's so many that I want to use for loads of different things. I mean, I've already changed like my profile picture on Spotify and things like that. I've added loads of the photos to Spotify.
Oh, there you go.
Because it's like, you know,
don't go on, but yeah.
Especially on Spotify, people will go to the artist profile on Spotify and scroll through the pictures, and it gives them an idea of what the artist is like and what they're trying to portray. And I think mainly because of my most recent album, Fractured, that came out through the record label Lights and Lines, that album was so multi-genre, and it had, like, you know, a dance track and a drum and bass track and you know, something heavy and something really light, and like it had this whole mishmash of all these different genres. And I was like, I need some imagery to fit with the harsher tones of that album, because if people just see floaty and that's nice kind of pictures, and then they listen to that album, they're going to have this jarring like sensation of, hold on a minute, this doesn't fit with the artist that I thought I was listening to. Whereas if they see these pictures, they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, you know, maybe I'd expect something that's a little bit more edgy from her, and they'll get it. So that was the plan.
and this translates to everything. I mean, when you say that whole situation about being jarred by the image not matching the reality, this is such an important thing in not just in artistry and music, but in business, in how we're presenting ourselves. You know, people who have, you know, headshots on LinkedIn that just don't look anything like them. And I'm not talking even ones that were necessarily from 10 years ago or when this, and obviously that is a thing. But what you can get is ones that, oh yeah, I just had this one taken 2 weeks ago, but it still looks nothing like you, buddy. Like, there's the work that's been done on it isn't what I've just met. And that is immediately we disconnect from that person. It's you have an expectation. I see a photo, I look up. Hey, you could look better than the photo. I mean, well, you know, all these things are subjective. You could look, actually, your natural look could be far more palatable in some respects than this very, very shopped look, or vice versa. But it's different. The point is that there is an expectation we form, we create. The neurons in our brain look at this image and they link to areas deep within our hypothalamic areas that are saying, here's our memories of what these sorts of people are like. And I've performed my own first impression before I've met them. And this is why, like, that's it. The first impressions come way before you even get a chance to make a first impression. So get it right. because it can really be hurting you as an artist, or as a, you know, in business, or if you're trying to move up the ladder in a career, you're doing all this kind of business. Everywhere that people see you, people will form impressions.
Yeah.
So don't skimp on that. Don't just be like, yeah, I'll use my mate with his phone to do it. I mean, hey, look, I'm not saying you can't do that. Some of these things look amazing, but it has to look great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why I've tried to be consistent across all my socials now with the imagery, and I've got like the video that I made that's like little clips of that my niece was taking while you were
she
taking
did a great job, by the way.
She did.
Well done.
122 photos and videos on my phone.
It's more than I took.
She was like, I took a few, and I was like, what? Scrolling through. I was like, you really did cover all the bases, didn't you, babe? She did a really good job. But it meant that I could then do that video where I've, you know, show a shot of what she took of the process, and then the actual final photograph. So I've got 2 videos, and I've pinned them both on all of my social profiles. It's that one, and then there's another one which is I just talk about how I'm multi-genre, and then and then different videos of the process of the photo shoot, which show me different sides of me, basically.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, I can sound like this, but I can also sound like this, and I can also sound like this, and this is what you can see. You know, it's all me.
Yes. And the more deliberate you are about that, the more because the danger, right, is, and I see this in various areas. The danger is that people start to think you're a bit of a jack of all trades, right? The danger is that people think that you're unfocused, or that actually this, okay, sure, but I'd rather listen to somebody who's just doing that and dedicated to just that, because that's bound to be a bit more. There's something going to grip me more about it. And that's a danger you can easily fall into.
Yeah.
But unless, again, with what you do and how you present yourself, you are extremely deliberate with it, then actually, no, she's a master of all trades, not a jack of all trades. You know, and
I hope so.
And that's where I loved your philosophy towards that. When we were talking about it, and you were saying, actually, I do want this. I'm thinking, okay, no, but I'm hearing where that's coming from. It's coming from a real place. So you're not just you're not telling me on the phone or when we're speaking that, I kind of just want to try something different. Because that's what a lot of people do. It's like, I kind of want to try something different with no direction or meaning to it.
This is very, it's very, very deliberate. And also, I think because there are a lot of artists who are like, their music is all very samey. Like if you think like Royal Blood, I love Royal Blood, but when you listen to them, you know that it's them. Like straight away, because it's the same vibe for almost every song, you know.
But having brand recognition is not a bad thing.
That's fine. Yeah. That's absolutely fine. So there's a lot of bands that are like that, and like, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers. You know, it's a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, don't you? Because it sounds like a demo.
Shots fired! I love it.
No, they're very good. They're very good, but all their songs sound like demos.
Okay. Yeah, they're okay. They might know what they're doing. Don't ask me. Yeah.
But this is just my own personal opinion. But then you've got newer bands like Wolf Alice, and if you listen to their new album, all of the songs sound different, but you know that it's them because it's got her voice on it.
Yeah, and her edge to it, and
it's
the
like
that comes with it.
that. That's kind of what I'm aiming to do. You know, it's me. It's my voice. It's my. My way of, like, you know, putting songs together, like the structure of the songs and the way that I do chord progressions and things like that, they're all still in those songs, but it's just that they're portrayed in slightly different ways, because I am not one thing. I am many things, you know. It's almost like my album Fractured that just came out. It's got the front cover of it is like a smashed mirror with my face in it, and I kind of feel like that.
The image of like Scarface coming up.
I feel like that kind of portrays what I do as an artist. Like it's all these different pieces that all come together to create one image. It's all the same. It's my reflection in that glass, but they're all different pieces of glass, you know. And that is kind of what my music career is. Yeah.
Wow. So in terms of the shards of glass then, so you talked about being in bands as well, or trying, did I remember that right? You're also in a couple of other bands, or are you trying to make some new bands?
No, I'm in a band called Phun City.
Okay.
With a PH, which is basically it's a bunch of guys from bands that were quite successful in like the 80s, in the 80s, early 90s. And they write, and their writing is like extraordinarily weird. At times. They write concept songs. So the most recent album that we had out was based in the fictional village of Skernton, and there was like a lady who we weren't sure whether she was a witch or not, and there was a guy who called Major Gabbard who made poisoned chutney and poisoned all the people in the village, and then there was a one day a year where the children would take over the town and they'd impose a curfew, and any adults that weren't in bed or home by the time it got to the curfew, they'd line them up and shoot them. So it's interesting concepts.
Well, it sounds like a dystopian nightmare that we'll probably see in 2027.
But basically, so I'm in this band. I sing and I play the synth and I play the flute, which is very different to my, like, I sing differently to how I sing my own stuff. Sure. I put on a like plastic,
a witchly tone,
a plastic like all-in-one thing, and I wear like a red and black wig.
Okay, gotcha.
And, like yes. Heavy makeup. I don't look like me. I become something else.
You become Phun City. Like that's what you become. Yeah.
It's a character that I play, and I really enjoy doing that. But we haven't done that for a while because they kind of made some records while I was ill, and I'm singing on some of them, but I'm not on others because I wasn't able to do it. And we haven't had any live performances since before I was ill. But anyway, so that's one of the bands that I'm in. And then the other one is a collective called H is for Hawk. And that's a singer-songwriter called Cy Connolly, who's prolific songwriter, very, very good at his craft, like probably the best songwriter I've ever met in my life. And we've been friends for about 3 years. And while I was ill, he was like, what can I do to help you, like with your music and whatever? Like he obviously, I couldn't do anything. And then as soon as I started feeling better, he's like, well, I've got this kind of idea for a collective thing. Would you like to join in? Would you, come and do something? And this is before I was able to get out and do my own thing. So I actually joined him and a guy called Dan on tour earlier this year. We've been on 2 tours. And we the songs were sort of written before the tour started, but they developed as the tour went on. So the more we played them, the more I got involved. So to begin with, I was only like singing backing vocals on 1 song, then 2, then I started playing the keys. And
it's sort of fairly organic progression.
And it's the arrangements of the songs have just evolved as we've gone. So by the time we got to the end of the second tour, I was like playing keys on all of the songs and singing backing vocals on them. So now I feel like I'm more of a fully fledged member of the band.
Oh, definitely.
But we've had one single out, which, funnily enough, I wasn't on the recording for that because it was recorded before I joined. But people have congratulated me on how beautiful my backing vocals sound, even though it wasn't me. But that's fine. And
it's the best we've ever heard you sound, Beth. Oh my God, we didn't know you were that good.
But that song's just been picked up by the Unsigned Guide, and it's on their spotlight for this month. So I actually had the email yesterday. It was like, spotlight, H is for Hawk. Yes, I'm in that band. But the picture, it doesn't have me in it. It's 3 guys, and the middle guy is not in the band, but I am. And I'm like, it's a shame. All the imagery for the band has not been sorted. We need to get a photo shoot for the band.
We do need to get a photo shoot sorted for the band.
Yeah.
If only we knew someone capable of doing something epic for them. Anyway.
But yeah, so that's the more like current project that I'm part of. We need to go to the studio to record some more of the songs.
Well, until then, H is for harlot, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm not taking it seriously until that record gets redone. But there we go.
Yeah, we're not redoing that record. We're gonna record some other songs. But I'll be playing keys and doing backing vocals on those.
Oh, wicked! Yeah. Excellent. So tell us about this. You mentioned you have a new song coming out.
Yeah, so this song I wrote when I was about 19. I had met somebody. Well, I already knew him. Bumped into him in a nightclub. He was a little bit older than me. I had a lot of respect for him because he was like older than me. And absolutely like head over heels, thought he was wonderful. He took complete advantage of me. And then I tried to contact him and he was like ignoring me. And then I got a text back saying, this is his girlfriend, please can you leave him alone? And I was absolutely, utterly heartbroken. And then I realised that I hadn't really been in love. I thought I was, so it wasn't really real. So the song is called Love is Dead. The chorus is love is dead, but it was always in my head. Love is through, but it's always been untrue. Love is gone, but I will live on and on. So it's like this kind of, you know, I could allow myself to sink into the deep depths of despair over what's happened, but actually I'd rather just move on. And the reason why I'm releasing it now is because I've recently gone through a breakup, and I just felt like I had actually, those songs had gone out on a CD. When I was younger, I released a CD album called Sentimental Fool. And
what's the CD? You revealed at the beginning of the podcast how old you are.
It was also on cassette.
Yes! And on the gramophone.
But yeah, so...
And carrier pigeons would sing it.
I kind of miss those songs being available to listen to, and I was like, do you know what, I want to put them out, because I did have there's a couple of tracks from that original CD album. One of them was on my first album in 2023. It was called My Debut, but it wasn't really my official debut. My official debut was Sentimental Fool in, like, I can't even remember what year, like 2002 or something. And so one of the songs, Chance to Change, went on the first album, and then the second album that's just come out now, it's got Secret on there. Only Secret was like just an acoustic with a plucky guitar, and I turned it into a dance track for this album. Okay. So when I play it live, I still play it like an acoustic plucky song.
Of course.
So I was like, well, I've put those two songs out, then what about Love is Dead and the two remixes, because all three songs were on that. There was like one at the beginning, one in the middle, one at the end.
So if can I ask something about this then? So basically, something that you mentioned here that I'm drawing a bit of a disconnect to. So you mentioned that about the background of where this track came from. You talked about how you used this phrase of, I thought I was in love, but I wasn't really. So I guess I have a question about that, around what do you mean by you weren't really, or what did you realize as being the difference? Because it sounds, the way you were describing up until that point was, you're head over heels over this guy, and that is an emotion of itself that's quite powerful, quite a big draw. So how did you then realize, or what flipped the switch to say that isn't me being in love?
I think at the time when I wrote it, it was more, I thought he loved me, but then I realised that he didn't, because he actually had a girlfriend and he wasn't really interested in me. He just took advantage. So I'd realised that at the time. And it's only really now when I look back, I think, actually, I wasn't in love either.
But on saying that, you mentioned the thing that's really brought this back is a recent breakup. Mm-hmm. Are there parallels to that?
Not really. No. It's a breakup-y kind of song. So it just felt like an appropriate.
Oh, fair enough. No, I was just trying to draw the dots there, but yeah.
Mainly, one of the things that I find with the songs is that sometimes when you've made a plan for something. Like this album Fractured, it came out a week after the breakup, right? And all of the themes of the songs on the album are about fractured human relationships. And my ex was actually in my band, and we played the songs live on the day that the album was launched, and he was on the keyboard behind me. It was a full-on Fleetwood Mac moment, because I was singing all these terrible things, and we had just broken up, and he was right there playing the keyboard for me in my band. And I had made it very clear. Like, I was like, you do know these songs were written quite a while ago, and they're not about you, and I'm not singing at you. But like, obviously I was feeling some of those emotions. So I now say that album kind of wrote me.
I love it. That's the tagline. Done. Yeah.
So yeah, that album wrote me rather than me writing it. And I suppose along those lines, I felt like Love Is Dead, you know, the fact that I could put it out as a single with 2 remixes, and like, when's a more appropriate time to put it out than when I'm feeling like, you know, I've lost that? Because I thought that he was my forever. I really, truly believed that, you know, we were going to get married. We were engaged. I truly believed that he was my forever, and you know, things happened and conversations were had, and I realised, I had a moment where I realised that, you know, why am I marrying somebody who feels this way? That, you know, there was a disconnect with what I thought love was and what it was actually presenting itself as, and I realised that really it probably wasn't the love that I have craved. I'd been trying so hard to make it be the love that I'd craved, but it just wasn't. And I was working really hard at trying to make it that. And so was he. You know, we were both trying really hard, and actually we weren't as compatible as we thought we were. Yeah. And so...
And what does compatibility mean to you? I know that's such a broad question.
Oh, that is a very broad question, isn't it?
If you look back and reflect on those moments, and the reason I ask, I'm not just asking for just sake of morbid curiosity, I mean, partly, but I'm asking as a sense of, I guess, trying to understand where some of the other themes of your music might be coming from.
Yeah, I think, really, for me, love is... I want to say easy, but not necessarily. It's not necessarily an easy thing to navigate. But love for me is when it feels easy being with a person. Like, you don't have to put on any pretenses. You don't have to obviously you have to make an effort, but you don't have to make huge efforts just to make things feel normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, just being around somebody and being myself, and not feeling like I've got to put on anything that's not me.
It's really struck a chord, you know, with pardon the pun, but it's it just suddenly reminded me in my head. I was having this conversation with my brother. I've got an older brother. You know, he's married. He's got a couple of kids, and he said to me, I forget when this was, not a million years ago. He says to me, "Oh, Sam, you know what are you looking for? You know, when are you going to get married? What are you looking for in a girlfriend? You know, that kind of stuff, right?" And I said, I came up with some answers. I said things like, "Oh, yeah, it'd be really nice if." I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like, it'd be really nice if she was really passionate about something, we could share experiences and blah, 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 stuff like this. And he turns around to me and he goes, "No, you're wrong. That's not what you want." And I go, what do you mean? It's like, no. What you want to look for in a girlfriend or a wife is someone you don't have to try to be anyone different. You can just be you.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And there's no effort. You can just be yourself, and zero effort to try to pretend to be anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, damn it, you're right, you dick.
But I think the thing is that you can feel like that at the beginning of a relationship, and you can feel like, you know, this is the one, because you feel like you're being yourself. But gradually, where you learn about the other person and you start adapting your own behaviors to fit theirs, or to protect them from, like, I don't know, it depends on the person, doesn't it? But you know, if they are triggered by certain things, you know, you adapt your behavior to make sure you're not triggering them, and that kind of thing. And that's fine. Sure. You do that anyway. Sure.
Well, you don't. So there's two dichotomies to this, isn't there? Because you've got the scenario for people like exactly like you say, where it's actually, oh, you know, there are certain elements of even how I am myself that I'd like to try and maybe hide away a bit, because that might not be so palatable for the person in front of me. But also, I mean, certainly from, if I'm reflecting or looking back on those sorts of moments, I'm thinking, do you know what? Like, for some people, like, life is a performance. And, you know, for people who might be having various elements of how they've been raised or grown up and etc., they may always want to present their best selves, but that is effort.
Yeah.
And at time, and when that effort suddenly dries up a little bit, not because you don't want to put in the effort, but we only have finite levels of energy. Suddenly, those things that maybe those darker sides of ourselves that perhaps we don't present to the world are still there. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And the person that you're trying to make a companionship with or make a life with, they're going to see those. Now, either that's going to be palatable for them or it isn't.
Yeah.
And if to not show those sides means you have to perform the whole time, then that can't work.
Yeah. I think that's probably like what ended up happening. You know, 5 years we really made a go of it. But at the end of the day, you know, there were things that he felt uncomfortable with, like my people, and I felt kind of uncomfortable with his people.
Yeah.
And the things that he enjoyed doing, and vice versa. So, and it just kind of came to a point of realizing that, you know, what are we doing? Why are we trying to make this the thing that we thought it was at the beginning? Like, you know, I do try to. I have always tried to adapt. I think because of my upbringing, like, you know, my dad being like a church leader, I've been brought up to put other people first. You know, always put other people first. So you know, it doesn't make a difference if it's making you. If it's making you unhappy, it doesn't matter. You've got to put other people first. You know, that's what I've always been brought up to believe. And I'm having to unlearn a lot of stuff from my childhood of, like, you know, actually, no, I want to protect my heart here. Why am I doing something for somebody that is changing who I am? Why am I trying to be this thing? Why am I trying to be everything to everyone when I should be looking after myself? Like, you know, and having had that really long illness, and basically like having to come out of that and then trying to build myself back up into what I want of myself.
Yes.
But not necessarily having that encouragement
Yes.
in the background. I was just, you know, I felt like something needed to change. And so so here we are.
I mean, I see you the way you describe that. You know, I can see, obviously I can hear lots of pain points, but I also I latched onto something you said earlier about, you know, you thought in this relationship that you were in for 5 years, you know, you thought this was your everything, your person. Don't ever lose that. Don't lose that fire for investing your soul into somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it in that way. I'm not. You know, we don't know each other very well at all. I don't know why you listen to me in that respect. But it's what I think. There's something really magical about people who can do that, because not everybody has the capacity to give their entire self to somebody else, or feel like this is my joie de vivre. This creates a meaning of life for me. And invariably enough people like that exist where they find each other and do the right thing by that. So what sucks is, and there are various people that I might know in my life where I've seen this happen, where they had that fire, something didn't go to plan, if I put it lightly, and they never get that fire back. And that sucks.
Yeah, I definitely still have that fire. I'm, you know, I'm comfortable with myself, but I don't like being on my own. And at the moment, it's just me and my 19-year-old in the house. And my 19-year-old plays ragtime relentlessly. And yeah, since my ex left, my child has now exited the bedroom and gone into the public, you know, the shared spaces of the house, and now I can't sit and watch a movie or do anything without some sort of interruption or interaction, and whereas I used to get left alone, and I kind of I don't know, I've been a parent for 22 years, and I want to be me, and I feel like the only way of being me is to either move out myself and just have a place on my own, or be with someone who makes me feel like me, who I can just be with and be comfortable and be myself. And I think that would be a nicer alternative than being on my own. I don't like the idea of it just being me on my own completely, but at the same time, I look forward to not being a full-time parent anymore, because so it's a long time to be devoting yourself to other human beings, and
there's nothing wrong with that philosophy. There are some, like we just talked about, the fact that there are some people who have, you talk about how you were raised in the background that you had, A, to be very independent, but B, to put everybody else first. There are some people for whom that is their satisfaction, and they will live like that and die like that, and that is the sword and the hill that they die on. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to you. There are times where people, like the horrific things you experienced, will shape your mind in a different set to say, actually, do you know what? I'm kind of in a place now where I have a lot of my own self to discover that I haven't, because I've been rightly, and I wanted to, and of course I don't have kids, so I'm saying I assume people love their children, but it's like it is one of those things where if you've had that epiphany, I'll call it an epiphany rather than a change of heart or whatever, that you have a lot more to explore about yourself, to explore about your art. As we've been talking about this whole time, the songs that you create, they come from very real places, and they're going to very real places. You shouldn't feel anything wrong with that way of thinking or that philosophy. And I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you're quite happy and content and confident with your own mindset. But I admire the fact that you've got that figured out.
Yeah, I think people feel bad feeling like they're tied down by being a parent. And I think it's not said enough that actually it's okay to just go, do you know what? Like, I've been doing this for a really long time. You're old enough now. Yeah. Go live your own life. Yeah. Like, be yourself. Stop draining me of all of my emotional resources, because like this is one of the funny thing is, so my 19-year-old is also a songwriter. Well, actually both my children are both songwriters. But they wrote a song that basically tells me to stop looking after them and go live my own life. Just stop mollycoddling, stop being mother, and just go off and be yourself now, because I'm okay. Yes. I'm old enough and I can do this. Be the crazy cat
lady you were born to be. Yes.
And then I'm still getting, can you give me a lift to this place? Can you give me a lift? Can you send me a tenner?
I still relentlessly do that to my own parents. I'm telling you,
so yes. I mean, but it's there's a balance, and there's this thing where you kind of, I mean, I know for a lot of people, they when their children are young, they're like, oh, my children are my world, they're my absolute everything. And then when they move out to go to uni or whatever, it's like heartbreaking. Yeah,
the empty nesting and all that.
But actually, like when my older son moved out 2 years ago now, it just felt like the right time. Like he was ready.
Yeah, cool.
He was ready, and he needed that independence. And it's nice. We have a really good relationship. Ironically, he's actually going to be moving back in, but just because it's cheaper to live with me, and I have another room now. So
fair enough. Yeah, there you go.
It's a big house to be in with just two of us. It's got three bedrooms. So it just felt like the right time. Whereas my younger child is like, I don't think I want to live on my own. Like I feel like I need to live with other people, but people I want to live with, and I like living here, and I like living with you, and so I'm like, okay, so you just oh, okay, and it's nice. It is nice to be needed, but it's also frustrating to have to keep dropping things to do a, you know, drop them off to somewhere to work, or go to the supermarket, or, you know, like all of these extra demands when I'm trying to focus my mind on how do I move forward in what I'm planning for myself, for my career. Like I sit down and I make a plan, and then I'm like, okay, well, today I'm going to do this and this and this. And then all of a sudden I'm like, it's like, oh, we need to sort out my passport. Oh, okay, right. So I'll just interrupt this to go and do that. Oh, and I'll just interrupt this to go and do that. And I just lose my flow. Yeah. And like, I need to be able to get really stuck into stuff. And I'll put my phone on silent, like do not disturb. I do not want to be disturbed. And I'll get a knock on the door, you know? And I'm like, I just need to focus on what I'm doing. But, you know, they can interrupt anytime. and that's been happening for 22 years. And I think it's a very valid feeling to be done with that, you know. I'm done with being interrupted. I'm going to get a do not disturb sign and put it on that door and be like, no, absolutely not. No, right, no, I'm not giving you a lift right now. You know?
Walk, damn it.
Yeah, you have legs. You have a jacket. Put your jacket on. Walk there. Yeah. Brilliant. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I won't be sharing this with my children.
I mean, it's going on YouTube, so it's
all right. I won't let them know that it's even there.
Well, I guess if anything, well, look, here, you know, here's Exhibit A for the therapy you'll need later.
Yeah,
there it is. Yeah.
But actually, ironically, the first album that I put out, the debut in 2023, is called Let Her Go, and it's literally the whole album is about learning who I am as a person, not just as a mother. Letting go of the woman who just said no to everything because I had so many responsibilities that I couldn't do things. It's like, let her go, and you will grow. And I'm singing it to myself. And I sing that quite regularly. Yeah. That's a song that gets requested quite a lot, because it's like, it's me giving myself permission to let go of the mother in me and be me. And, you know, quite often when I sing it live, I say, right, I'm talking to all you mums out there. It's okay for you to go out and have fun when you are a mum. You're allowed to do that. I give you permission. You let go of that woman who has responsibilities and you let your hair down, and this is for you.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, we I guess we digressed a bit, but purposefully. Like it is a. I very much with the podcasting that myself and Andre do. We have a lot of business owners come on. We have artists who come on, but we find these common threads, which is what really drags us to keep doing this. Which is that inherently there's people behind these things. Which we sort of, it sounds so silly to say, but we do forget. We do, like when we talk to business owners about the things that they do and the products they may create or the services they may provide. What we're interested in is the human behind it.
Yeah.
But let me just understand what's driven you to this. And it's not just I was inspired by this and that. I'm sure those things are true, but actually there's a whole world of person behind that and the things that they've seen and experienced and felt. And business leaders are as much artists as artists sometimes have to be businessmen, but artists are artists, right? And the most successful in all of those realms are the ones who basically create something from their real authentic selves. Yeah. And hence I wanted to explore a bit more about your philosophies around this, because it will invariably, whether you want it to or not, and you clearly do want it to, which is good, but whether you want it to or not, it's going to translate into what you produce. Yeah. And the more you embrace that, which again, it sounds like you embrace it a lot, the more people will connect to that.
Yeah. Well, I found before I was doing music full time, I was teaching in university. on an early years course, because that was my what I learned in university. I did my degree in early years, and I would tell stories to elaborate on what I was teaching from my own experience of childcare and family and, you know, people that I knew and whatever. And I've always felt like we have this habit of like not revealing things about ourselves when it comes to work. Like, you know, work means you go into work mode. But I'm like, no, there's something intrinsic about me that is in the work that I do in any context. So, you know, when I was working with young children, I have a huge passion for getting it right for children when they're in their youngest years, because I didn't necessarily get it right with my own children. I didn't know that my youngest was autistic, and I you know, tried different behavioural techniques that I probably shouldn't have because I didn't know how to manage their behaviour. And so when I learnt more, I was like, well, I can draw from that experience of being a parent in what I teach about early years and the way that I conduct myself as an early years practitioner and a manager, and, you know, training my staff in different, you know, ways of being with children. And it's always about drawing on yourself, being yourself. And the more you are yourself in what you do, the more successful I feel you are. Because, like, you know, I would get essays in from my students, and it was the ones who put themselves into their writing that I would cry sometimes, because I'm like, they've heard me, they've understood what I mean, and they've translated that into their own experience, and they have really taken it to the core of their being of what they needed to learn from this. And I think, you know, obviously there are some jobs where you have to put yourself at the door before you do it, but a lot of the things that we choose to do, you know, our careers, we choose to do them because it's intrinsically a part of who we are, and we put ourselves into it. And it's just one of those things. It's, you know, there's a merge there that you can't get rid of. Yeah. And you have to be yourself. Yeah. So yeah, that's just how I've always felt really about work. I am the work. The work is me. It's not really work. It's just who I am.
Well, indeed, for some, that's exactly that. It's an extension of their own being, and sometimes they're in the right environment for that, and other times they're not. It just, it can be great when you find yourself understanding that about yourself, though. You know.
Yeah, I think it was the moment that I realised that there was an intrinsic part of me in what I did when I was teaching. That, like, it unlocked something for me, because before I was kind of teaching in a formulaic way to the materials that were provided, and I was like, it doesn't feel right. Like, I can't connect with these people. Like, I need to put some of my own experience in there. And when I gave myself permission to do that, it just like, ooh, okay,
you've unlocked the box.
Yeah. It's like this is a whole completely different way of doing things. It was new to me, you know, because I'd been to lectures where the lecturers were guarded about themselves. They were just talking about the subject at hand. But it was when I did my master's, and one of the supervisors that I was working with, she talked about stories, shared stories. She was saying that every time you do a piece of research, you're actually inputting your own story into that research. And it would be a different research project if someone else was doing it.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
And the whole idea that, like, you know, the fact that we've sat down and we're doing this podcast together, this is creating a shared story between you and I that wouldn't have happened if I was talking to someone else.
Yeah, of course.
And vice versa. So it's every shared story leads to a shared experience, leads to a deeper understanding of humanity. It's quite big. It does get quite big, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. But you're dead right, though. It is in every sort of moment that we find ourselves, we gain something from that, and it shapes our understanding of what's around us. But like you say, if you would never replicate that experience 100%. By introducing different variables, like different people, or like different experiences, or like, well, anything to do with that. And that's where the whole thing comes of, you know, we are all our history. We are all the experiences. We are defined by the people we've met. We're defined by the people we've interacted with in any way, shape, or form. That is the amalgamation of where we are right now.
Yeah.
And so, who knows what the future will hold? Well, no one knows, because you don't know who you're going to meet next around the corner. You don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know what life or things will throw at you and how you will inherently react to that. But the learning and the philosophy around that is what is fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love all this stuff.
Excellent. Well, hey, look, I mean, clearly I do too, because this is the directions that I tend to go in. But Beth, it's been amazing to hear about, some incredible parts of your journey, some very, very unique and very challenging times that have shaped you to be doing what you're doing now. We spoke at the beginning about we met through the fact that you've done the Battle of the Bands, and that you're very successful there, and hearing about where you're going with your music and the stuff that you're wanting to do with it and where it's coming from. It's been fascinating. I've loved that.
Oh, thank you.
It's been really good. And so where can people go then? You mentioned about some of your socials, but where's the best place to go to hear your music, to learn more about you?
Probably my website. It's just bethsarah.co.uk. It's got like all the links to everything on there.
Yeah.
So and then there's a link on there to the link tree, and on the link tree is like all the most current things. So like you can pre-save the new single, you can see where I'm playing next, you can get tickets for things and whatever. So everything, like I always update the link tree so that it's completely current.
Great.
I try and update the website as well, but I don't want to have too many buttons on there, too many call to action on the website. So you can go on there.
Too busy.
You can read more on the website about my pancreatitis journey as well. There's a page dedicated to the Catharsis EP, and it's got the lyrics of all the songs on there, and then it's also got a piece of writing that I did throughout the whole period. That it's like a poem, like a spoken word piece that it grew as I went on, and if I read it out loud, it takes about 15 minutes. So it's long, but it's like it's all on there. And then right at the bottom of the page, it's got some like photos of when I was in hospital and stuff. So that's kind of like more of an insight into the background of the illness and like the process that I went through. It kind of ends on a I was like, I don't actually know when to end it, because it hasn't really ended still. I still get symptoms now related to that. So, but I was like, I can't be any longer than 15 minutes. I'm going to have to stop it there.
It's running commentary. That
so it kind of goes to about October of 2024.
Sure.
So it doesn't include having my gallbladder out or anything like that. But it's it's up to that point. Yeah. It was like where I just decided, you know what, this is enough. This is enough. I don't want to be going down this rabbit hole anymore. It's I mean, it fulfilled the purpose that it needed to. In that respect. So, there's no sense in forcing it if there's no purpose to it in that respect. But so you can just there's all like links to YouTube, and I've got lots of live videos on YouTube. I've got like all of my songs singles that I've put out. I always make a lyric video, so they're all up. Excellent. Yeah, and it's like Spotify and all that kind of thing. So. Good. And of course, something I'm going to tag on to the end of this podcast is you're going to perform a song here. Yeah. Which song are you going to do? So I'm going to do Love Is Dead. Okay, good. It's actually going to be like a different version to any of the three versions. Exclusive live version. I've been working on the arrangement. Focal playing podcast version. I like it. Good. It is. Yeah, I'll probably never play it the same again. Wait, does that give me intellectual property rights? How does that work? No, we can discuss that later. Wicked. Well, look, Beth, it's been so good to have you on. Like I said, really enjoyable. I love this conversation as well. It's given me a lot of food for thought, I'm sure for people watching as well. But thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Excellent. you ever did for sure. Hating all this pain I'm feeling now. Waiting for something good to happen, for love is dead. It was always in my head. Love is through. It has always been untrue. Love is gone. But I will live on and on, yeah. Clinging to my memories of you, searching, but I haven't got a clue. Sinking to somewhere lower than the blues. Selfish, but there's nothing more to choose. For love is dead. It was always in my head. Love is true. It has always been untrue. Love is gone. But I will live on and on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will live on and on, yeah. Loving what was always in my dreams, knowing that it is not quite as it seems, thinking who was right and who was wrong. Deep down I get this feeling I don't wanna be singing the song.